But I would love for us to explore and give our listeners maybe some tools or some ideas on how they can advance whatever goals they have in 2025. So I'm curious, like if we were on a call with a client, how would you begin to equip them to answer this question and to kind of talk about that unless that you mentioned
Mm,
at the beginning?
yeah. Well, I mean, first thing I'd ask them is, hey, and I'm going to do this with you right now. You don't know that I'm going to do this, but Brad, what are the goals that you didn't reach in 2024, and why did you not reach them?
Oh man, I have so many. I have
Under
so many.
under your, very limited understanding of who you are. No, but like under your
Yeah.
perception, why didn't you reach those goals?
Yeah. So how concrete do you want me to like give you a specific example, or do you just want me to be more general? Like, do you want me to talk about a business example, or I could talk about one of my fitness,
Yeah,
goals?
go
I
with a
could
fitness
go either
go
way.
with a fitness goal that you didn't hit.
Yeah. So two fitness, well, really three fitness goals in my big compound lifts. I didn't hit any of my, max weight goals. And oh man, like it's actually the second year in a row that I've not hit those. It's the second year in a row that I've increased my max lifts on squat, bench, and deadlift and press. Actually, I think I did hit my press. I think I did hit my press goal, actually,
Cool.
as a matter of fact. Um, but that would be the only one. And so for 2 years in a row, I've had very clear, max lift goals that I've not met. And it's actually like kind of frustrating for me because like I really like I'm a healthy 35-year-old guy. I am relatively small, but there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to hit my numbers.
Mm,
Other than just like I'm just not putting in enough time, effort, and probably sleep into into hitting them. So yeah, very frustrated. 2 years in a row. I'm determined to hit them in 2025. Um, Move me forward. Where
yeah.
what did
So
I miss?
2025, you're just going to try harder.
Yeah, I feel like that's part of the problem, right?
Sure.
And is like what I'm working isn't working.
Mm,
I've got to rework my process for hitting these things.
yeah.
And um and I'm not quite sure. I'm kind of in analysis paralysis a little bit, you
Okay.
know? Um and I'm definitely feeling a little stuck in that area of my life, but I think I have some reasons why I didn't progress the way that I should have the last 2 years.
Okay. What are those?
So one, I think goes down to like I injured my shoulder, right? So for my bench, about a year and a half ago, I think it was middle of 2023, maybe late 2022, I injured my right shoulder bench pressing, and I didn't really rehab it very well, and so I think that that's part of the reason why I've just kind of favored it and babied it a little bit, and I've just
Yeah.
not put in the time and the attention to rehab it properly because it's annoying to have to stretch and to have to do a bunch of awkward exercises to rehab, anything. And I'd rather just like go bench and not, you know, do the rehab, right? Which I think just slows down progress, right?
Yeah.
Um, I've not been as consistent. I've been very consistent with physical activity, but not as consistent with lifting. So, like, not really working a formal plan and being committed to a formal plan, I think has held me back a lot. And I think not sleeping, because what
Mm,
I have noticed is I'll get good sleep, I'll get a really good workout in, make a little bit of progress, and then I won't recover well. And so therefore, soreness, fatigue, having a crappy lift a couple days later, and I'm like, okay, and then I get off my regiment, if that makes sense.
sure. Makes perfect sense. I mean, you had a hard year, right? You had a new baby, you got a
Mm.
new kiddo, right?
Oh yeah,
So, I mean,
yeah. Sleep has been garbage
yeah,
since
is it?
like the latter part of my wife's pregnancy.
Yeah. There's there's definitely challenges around all of that. And I'll tell you what I tell a lot of my clients that doesn't make it so fun, but I always say, hey, excuses are like butts. Everybody's got them and they all stink, right? It's not that none of those are true. They're all true. They're all true. But the kind of the way that I frame it up is like most people start off in January and they're pretty excited. But I think this is my assertion. Well, let's just tease this out for a little bit and see if it's true. All right. I
Mhm.
think we fail on our goals for multiple reasons. Um, I'm gonna go with three strategic ones that you can think about why you probably will have 2024 be like 2025. And here's the deal: all these things are simple; they're not easy. Like if you're looking for the next book or the next revelation, that could be part of your problem on why you're not able to get over the hump. What you actually have to do is simple; it's just not easy. One is how often are your goals connected to your vision? So is your goal, hey, weightlifting and hitting these goals, does that actually impact you in where you want to go or not? Because if you set up a goal that you're like, geez, I just want to hit a new max in bench because I want to be stronger, but being stronger doesn't fit necessarily with your vision of the who you want to be. Like, let's just say it's fit. Does bench pressing 245 pounds actually make you any more fit? It may or may not. We have to understand, does my goal actually align with that, right? So because if my goal is not, then eventually whatever that vision is that we talked about getting clear and marching towards, the goal doesn't add up. We just had this conversation, at work here where it's like,
That's
hey,
good.
most people set goals, but do they think, does the goal align with the vision? So Barra agency, we exist, right? To get people back to the people side of business. But if we're not connecting our goals and our revenue and all those thoughts back to that, eventually it's just dollars and cents, right? That's not what drives people. So, number one, is your vision actually connected with your goals? So, I want to go to the gym every day
Love
this
that.
year. Why? Why? You got to be able to tell me why. And not just, well, I just want to be healthier. No, that's not a clear enough vision for yourself. The person that I want to be at 60 is somebody who is still playing golf every single day, retired, playing golf, exercising, good shape. But all of a sudden now I can see that picture of where I want to be, and my brain is actually going to start subconsciously working on ways to get there. It at least increases my chances of hitting those goals. So that's number one.
Man,
Thoughts on that?
that's so good. And I think about, I mean, yeah, I could give you some of my whys around like fitness, right? And I think that they would make good sense. But something that's interesting is that I don't think I confronted my why very often. I
Mm,
think that I was just confronting, you know, honestly, I don't think I confronted my why or my end state goal very often in the past year. I think that I was really just trying to maintain the discipline and trying to just force myself to move and force myself to get in the gym, and which is my garage. So not
yeah.
very sophisticated. I probably shouldn't be putting two, a couple 100 pounds on my back or over my face alone in there, but
Hey,
that's what's
well,
happening.
you
So
know,
it is what it is.
I mean, that leads into our second point. I think you're right. I think you're right. Yes. Oftentimes, I think we get swept up. So we start with this grandiose idea,
Totally.
maybe when we have the vision, but are we continually coming back and looking at the vision? There's a book called Living Forward out there, which talks about writing out a life plan. And in
Hmm.
that, it says every morning waking up and looking at that life plan and reading it to yourself, right?
Yep.
Going through it and making sure, like, okay, I am connected to that vision.
Here's what's interesting. On the work side of my life, I connect to my why and my big picture vision like multiple times a day.
Sure.
And I think that that's part of the reason for like being so naturally, and obviously having, a wife and three kids really helps anchor you to, you don't want to blow up your marriage, you don't want to damage your kids, emotionally. So you try to be very present for those things. And my wife and I have some agreements that we've made that we're committed to that help me, turn work off at 6 and really try not to turn it back on until like 6 or 7 the next day, right?
Yeah.
Which is very helpful. Point being though, I think a part of the reason why like I don't get tired of work is because I am so fueled and so inspired by my why. And
Yeah.
I have to wonder, based on what you're saying, if I reconnected to my why as frequently on the fitness side or the physical health side, physical capital for me, as I do my work, maybe I would be even more motivated to be disciplined and to just do the reps, so to speak, on the fitness side as I am on the work side. That I haven't thought about it like that before.
Well, it's,
Oh, you're actually
so
kind of good at this.
on occasion,
Can I be your
I'm
client?
can you actually just tell my wife that you said that? Just
No,
tell my wife
definitely
that you said that I'm kinda good at this. I think that'd
no.
be great.
That's not
Look,
happening.
I think you're right. I think a couple things. People naturally are going to have a tendency to do better in some areas than others, right? They're just going to be naturally driven. If it's for me,
Mhm.
it's typically on the fitness side. Yeah, I've done that my whole life. I can get into shape pretty fast. I can get back to that base level pretty fast, right?
Mhm.
And I've done that for so long, it's intrinsically like I don't have to think about that vision for myself as much. I know that when I am 85 years old, I still want to be able to play golf, tennis, pickleball, live in some kind of community that I'm not totally retired, but it's like camp all the time, where we get to go out and play pickleball in the
Yes.
mornings, golf in the afternoon, and then maybe I'm at a speaking engagement, and then I come home for some cards and drinks and go to bed. That sounds
Yeah,
great. Okay. That's
that
a
sounds
that's a
amazing.
yeah, I still want to keep my vision for my life with having all those things. But that is so innate in me now. I don't have to necessarily think about it. So when I'm off course, I tend to course correct more quickly. Other areas of life are hard. So the reasons why you may not change in 2025: A, is your vision connected to the goals that you want for yourself, or your goals just floating objects, right? And
Mm.
that's not just like, here's where this is simple, it's just not easy, is because that's daily. Like,
Yep.
there's no other way to skin that cat to say you're not going to be motivated. In fact, the majority of the days your motivation is going to be lacking, which is why the purpose and the vision and having clarity on that is so important. So number one, okay, when you write out those goals, if you're a goal person or if you're just like, this is the word that I have for this year, get clear on what that means, attach it to your vision. The other two and three, really simple. We come alongside people and we provide this. It's just, again, it's simple, it's not easy. The other two are community and accountability. I would say, hey, Brad, with your goal that you didn't hit for the for your maxes,
Yeah. Third year in a row.
how come I'm not on a text message or a Google sheet with you measuring that?
Hmm.
How did you do when we said we're going to do 100 push-ups every day
Oh,
and
crushed
we
it.
measured it? Right. Because we measured it, right? But we
Yeah.
didn't just measure it like, hey, I've got a spreadsheet for myself. We had, we had 4, 5, 6, 7 people on that list that were in there all the time, and you did miss it, right? You didn't get them every day, but you also had other
No.
days where we did like 380 push-ups to try and catch up, right?
Yep. And month 3, I even started getting a little crazy with it. I started adding some different things and tracking those, right?
Sure.
So, yeah, point well taken. Like, I have not included any community, and relational accountability, or, like, just reporting
Mm-hmm.
in that part of my
Right.
life.
Yeah. What we measure moves.
Mhm.
Right. Well, we're going to measure moves. If you don't measure it, you're not going to move. Even if you do move, you don't really know. Like, this is going back all the way to the clarity. Like, did you at the beginning of the year go, okay, right now I can put up 195. Awesome. The goal is 255. Why? Because I want to be a strong ass old man by the time that I'm 70 and still bench pressing
Yes.
255 like that dude on an Instagram video that you once sent me. And in order to do that, I need to be, hitting 255 by the end of this year so I can just sustain that. Yeah, now you're
I know you're
remembering that
talking
video.
about
Yeah.
Danzig.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
I'm
And he
serious.
d he is, he doesn't lock out his bench.
Yeah.
Um, but it's not that he doesn't lock out, it's that he does not complete. It's like
Hey,
it's
if you
not
can
it's
you can
it's
talk to
bad.
different people. I know I bench press more than I ever have this year. Was it this year? Yeah, it was like right before the girls got here. Way more than I ever had, like significantly
Mhm.
more. And I had different form and somebody was working with me on it. Good buddy of mine, he's pastor friend. He's all into that kind of stuff. And it was
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
But the point is, the reason I got there, and that was not part of my goals actually. So, but is because I didn't do it alone and I had somebody pushing me and keeping me accountable to it. So we were going to the gym, you know, every Saturday for a while. We go during the week as well too, and then I could get closer to that. Now, this is not a guaranteed recipe for how do I make $10 million in, um, 2025. It could be, it could be. We still can miss. But the point of the goal also is to get closer to the vision, even more than it is hitting the goal, right?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
it's to get closer. And I think successfully, you could say, if you did that, let's just take it and you had the same year that you had, but your vision was, I want to get stronger as a human this year to be, 65-year-old that's bench pressing 300 pounds. Cool. That's a great vision because I want to be healthy and be there for my family and still be able to wrestle my kid when he's 30. Awesome. Good for you, Brad. You know,
It's
and
quite old to wrestle your kid, but yes.
well, that's true. Good point.
Yeah.
We'll take it. We'll take
Like
it.
18 is about the
Well,
cutoff.
you just still need to be able to kick their rear, right? Like you got to
That's
have the
right.
old man strength. Like my
That's
dad,
right.
if we go to the gym, he's not going to be stronger than me, but the old man strength is still there. So,
Oh yeah.
um, but I think you would say, hey, if your goal was to bench press 295 and you hit 275 this year, but you did it together and you got closer to it, I think you would sit on this call and you'd have a much different conversation. You go, yeah, hey, you know what? I missed the mark. I still missed the mark. But I got really close to it. I grew. I am stronger, and I'm definitely going to be able to fly by that. This next year, right? It's a whole other conversation. So oftentimes I think, and I was just chatting with a client who told me this the other night. He said, "Geez, I just need more discipline." And I said, the problem with that is there's always some truth in that lie. Like
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
true. Every single human being needs more discipline. Even David Goggins, if you're David Goggins guy who's out there, being so disciplined every day, he would still say, yeah, I could probably have more. There's days that I cheat. There's days that I whatever. So if we said, hey, maybe discipline isn't it, then us as humans get places by having a vision of where we want to go, connecting what we're going to do to that vision, and then doing it together. So that is the key to accomplishing what you want to change and having your 2025 be different.